Shaper Media Enterprises, LLC presents The Ultimate Question by Stephen C. Shaper.
People keep asking me to document the events from those days so long ago. So here I am, finally doing it. The basic outline of the story is known by pretty much everyone, but perhaps here I can fill in some of the missing pieces. I really don't remember much from my early childhood, but I've always had a distinct memory of a beautiful woman singing me to sleep.
When moon rises as the sunset dies, be sure to follow that path, my dear, for on that path redemption lies. Then you will have nothing to fear.
That memory kept me going when things got rough. The other early memory I have is much less pleasant. I wake up as I'm being dragged by two soldiers through a field where a great battle had been fought.
Remind me why we're dragging this kid?
Someone needs to tell us what to do with him.
What's the mystery? We throw him in the pit with the others.
He's just a boy. Wait, here's the general.
He's talking to the lieutenant. Why don't we hang back a bit?
The wheel continues to turn, doesn't it, Lieutenant?
What wheel is that, sir?
The wheel of violence. When did we last do this? A little over a decade ago? And what did we call it? The war to end all wars. The forces of Cydia defeated us then, and we've had this bloodlust ever since.
But this time we succeeded. Now there can be peace.
Oh, perhaps. I find it unlikely. The Cydians will like defeat no better than we did. In another 10 years, they will rebuild their forces, and we'll be right back here again. It's as predictable as the clock on my mantle.
You have a clock?
Excuse me, sir. We found this one under a wagon. Should we throw him in the pit with the rest of the vermin?
Of course. You know the law. Why bother the general with such trivialities?
I'm sorry, sir, but I thought that, since he is so young...
How much thinking does it take to swing a sword? Leave us.
Wait. Let me talk to the boy.
Get over there, you.
What is your name, boy?
Answer the general when he speaks to you, vermin.
Stop. Let me speak to this boy alone.
Yes, sir.
You there.
Sir?
I warned you.
Soldier, you have distinguished yourself today. Rules can never take the place of our basic humanity.
Yes, sir.
Fungi kiss up.
Come here, boy. Sit beside me.
Sir, he is a Cydian. The regulations say he must be killed with the rest of them. He is dangerous, even if he is young.
He looks to be about 7. I think I can manage. Go and check on the replacement horses. We have many wounded who will need to be transported home.
Yes, sir.
Go get the fungi horses. You there, go collect stray horses and bring them to the field hospital.
Yes, sir.
Now then, young man, what is your name?
I don't know.
No tricks now. You could be in very big trouble if you lie to me. How did you come to be here today?
I don't know.
Slight head wound, nothing dire. When did you hurt your head?
I don't know.
Really? You don't seem to know much about anything, do you?
I've never met anyone who did.
If I let you go, where will you go?
I don't know.
Would you like to come with me?
Okay.
I guess the next important part of the story happens 11 years later, when I was in the nearby village picking up supplies. I was walking across the muddy street and overheard a conversation between a pretty young woman and a local town ruffian. She was trying to carry a load of rough-hewn lumber across the street while he kept blocking her way.
Hey, Searton.
Go away, Mika.
If you go with me to the dance tonight, I'll carry that wood for you.
I'm a little busy right now. Can I ignore you later?
Oh, come on. We'll have fun.
Look, if I throw a stick, will you run after it?
I don't think she likes you.
Just leave me alone, Mika.
I tried to walk past them while stepping over a mud puddle, but at the same time, the woman stepped to the side and we collided, her heel stomping squarely on my toe. Ow!
Son of a mushroom eater.
Hey, watch it!
I'm so sorry. Here, let me help you.
It's all right. Stop fussing.
You've got mud all over you.
I said stop fussing.
Hey, who the hell are you?
Max.
Max? What the hell kind of a name is Max?
Wait a second, Mika. Don't mess with that guy. I've seen him around before.
What? So? Look how little he is. Hey! I asked what the hell kind of name Max is!
Just ignore him.
Hey, Tiny, answer me!
He grabbed my shirt and pulled me upright, which was a very bad idea.
You'd really better let go.
Oh? And what are you gonna... Oh!
Here's your lumber. We should probably get going before Fungi Boy here catches his breath.
Thanks.
Say, that's a lot of lumber for somebody your size to be carrying.
Yes, I suppose it is.
I guess you have a lot of spunk or something, eh?
Yes, I guess I do.
Well, it was nice bumping into you. See ya.
Come on, let's get this guy.
Yeah. All right, yeah, let's get him.
Boy, I can't take you anywhere, can I?
Wait a second. Hold it, yeah. Let's get out of here.
A guy could grow old waiting for you to come out of a bookshop. I was just thinking that, before I die, I really would like to get my foot crushed by a pretty girl. Just sort of a fantasy of mine.
Well, everyone needs a dream. Here, lift this up. I'm too old to be hefting these books around.
Nice of you to get a little light reading for the cook. You find anything interesting for yourself?
Nah, same old thing. The true meaning of life. The mysteries of the universe revealed. Stuff like that. Nothing you'd be interested in.
I guess we'd better get going if we're going to get back before dark.
Hey, guy with the weird name. I'm not gonna fall for any tricks this time.
Okay. How's that instead?
You'd better watch out. You'll get run over lying around in the street like this.
They really need to do something about the public drunkenness in town, don't you think?
Yes, people lying around in the street. It's disgusting if you ask me.
The next day, I awoke just before dawn, as usual, not suspecting the day would be any different than every other day I had known for the last 11 years. I ate a quick breakfast, then started on my daily run up the mountain to Gamal's training site. Normally, it took about an hour, but that morning, I chose to wear iron bracelets and anklets to increase the resistance. It made for slower going. As I approached the training area, I slowed down to a jog. Gamal was sitting on the porch of the structure, a few yards from the fighting circle, drinking tea.
What took you so long?
I came the long way. Oh, and I was wearing these.
You have an interesting taste in jewelry. By the way, I have a special treat for you. I've invited a fellow martial artist to join us today. Senpa, can you come out?
I am ready.
Fungi! You've got to be kidding!
What? What's wrong?
He's got to be over 7 feet tall! And he's a Sedaean! I recognize the hand tattoo.
So?
These guys are trained to fight from birth.
So? You expect only to go up against easy opponents? Like that fool in town? Now, manners maketh man. Max, this is Senpa. Senpa, Max.
Nice to meet you, I think.
What kind of name is Max?
Gamal, do you think you might have told me about this before I ran up here the long way, wearing these iron weights?
I don't get your point. What difference would that make? Do you expect to find trouble only when it's convenient? Get into your sparring equipment.
A few minutes later, I was geared up and out on the fighting circle, craning my neck to look up at this giant Sedaean.
Both of you, watch your control. This is a training exercise. It's not worth dying over. Begin when you're ready.
1 second, please. By the will of the missing prince, may I prevail! Yeah!
He came at me with a series of spinning kicks and haymaker punches. His limbs were like tree trunks, and I could barely block his blows. And then...
Nice control, Senpa.
Nice control? He nearly put a hole through my chest.
Oh, stop being such a baby and get up.
How about showing me how it's done?
Well, I could, of course, but you'd never really learn that way. You're the kind who needs to figure out things on his own. Remember your geometry.
Geometry? I'm having enough problems keeping my head screwed on as it is. That's all I need. Something else to think about.
Geometry is the only thing you should be thinking about right now. It will save your hide. Okay? Begin.
That got me thinking. As I was maneuvering around the ring, trying not to get my head handed to me, I started to notice Senpa's fighting style. Then, something occurred to me. You know that geometry guy you told me about?
Which one?
The guy that said the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line?
What about him?
Tell him thanks.
Well, he didn't exactly say that. I made it pithier. Smart guy, but not a very good writer. If I see him, I'll thank him for you.
That was fun, Senpa.
I didn't think such a little guy could hit that hard.
Come on and get something to drink, and we'll have another go at it. We were just about finished with our tea and were preparing for another bout when we heard the sound of a rider approaching.
Hugh there.
Is Hugh here? No, sorry.
What?
Excuse me?
I have no time for these games.
Well, maybe Hugh does, but no one seems to know where he is.
Where is General Gamal?
Who should I say is calling?
A messenger from the Queen.
General! Yoo-hoo! Message for General Gamal! Oh, here he is.
Insolent brat.
I wouldn't do that.
Hey, get off me!
You should be more careful with these things. Someone could get hurt.
Ow! Fungi mushroom eater?
Now state your business, but be brief. I'm already bored.
I have a message from the Queen. It's in my pouch. No one but the General must see it.
I started fishing around in his satchel.
No one must see it but the General. Let go of me.
Nice joint lock, Max.
Here, is this it?
Yes, but only...
The General can see it, I know. Here you are, Gamal. Hugh, you can get up now. Anything else?
General Gamal. The Queen requires an immediate reply.
Oh, does she?
Max!
You know, Hugh, you really need to work on your people skills.
Max! Quiet! Max, get this rider something to eat and a fresh horse. Then meet me back at the house. Come the short way.
General, the reply?
Tell Her Majesty that we will be there in 3 days.
Not long after that, Senpa and I were jogging up to Gamal's main house and entered through the large double front doors.
Wow, the General did all right for himself, eh?
Well, the estate has been in his family for centuries. Most of the art on the walls is stored here by the Queen for safekeeping. Can't have all your treasures in one spot, you know?
Here, Max, take these boxes and put them in the cart. Stack them tightly. We'll need all the room we can get. Oh, Senpa, of course you're still here. We'll take you as far as the village. Will you be able to get home from there?
Sure, no problem.
Wait a second. Now, where did I put that? Oh, here it is. Here, Senpa. This should cover your expenses and still give you enough to get you through the next few months. Call it my donation to the cause. Thanks for coming. Now, Max, we need to leave here this afternoon to get to the village by nightfall. I'll pack my things and leave the boxes by the door of my study. You gather your things and pack enough food for us for a 3-day trip.
How long will we be gone?
We may be gone for months.
Months? What's going on?
No time to explain now. Just get packing.
Wow, Senpa. I don't remember anywhere but here in the village. I'm not even sure I believe that anywhere else really exists.
Oh, there are definitely other places.
The sun was beginning to set in the village when we pulled the wagon into town. The streets were mostly quiet, although I noticed one of Mitka's gang lurking in the shadows. He ran off when he saw us. We stopped in front of the inn.
Max, take care of the horses. I'll arrange for rooms. Senpa, do you want a room for the night?
No thanks, General. Save your money. And anyway, I prefer to stay out of sight.
Probably a good idea, given the circumstances.
Circumstances?
Later, Max. Senpa, thanks again for coming. Sorry we couldn't show you more hospitality. And Senpa, be careful.
Yes, sir. You too. Max, I wish we could have had more time for a rematch.
I think I might be lucky that we didn't.
You fight pretty good for a little guy with a weird name. You be careful now, and maybe we'll get that rematch one day.
Senpa walked off into the darkness, and Gamal climbed out of the cart, grabbed a satchel, and headed into the inn. I took the horses and cart toward the livery stable. I remember I was singing that song my mother used to sing to me. When moon rises as the sunset dies, be sure to follow that path, my dear. For on that path redemption lies, then you will have nothing to fear. Hello? Anyone here? Hello?
Hey, what are you doing?
Mika, you're like a case of foot fungi. I'm boarding my horses. Why? Worried they'll take your spot?
I don't think you're boarding horses. I think you're stealing them.
Excuse me?
And we're here to stop you.
What? Just you four? I don't think so.
Get him, boys!
Get him!
Grab his arm.
Son of a mushroom eater! Get hold of him!
Fungi gatterwister.
I got him.
Got him.
We got you now, Maxie!
Is there a problem here?
Fungi! It's a Gadu giant!
This is stupid. I'm out of here.
Wait for me.
You okay, Max?
Oh, sure. No problem. I was just getting around to doing that myself. Show off.
Here, get up off of the ground. I was going to sleep here, but it might be too noisy.
Senpa. Thanks. I definitely owe you.
Ha! Yes, you do.
Senpa receded back into the darkness and out of sight. I boarded the horses and made my way over to the inn. It wasn't crowded, but there were a few people drinking and laughing. Gamal was by the bar, speaking in a hushed tone with the innkeeper. When he saw me, he stopped talking, looked me up and down, nodded to himself, and then went back to his conversation. The girl who stepped on my toe the day before was wiping tables. She stopped, looked at me with a startled expression, dropped her cloth, and walked over to me.
Are you alright?
Sure. Never better. Why do you ask?
Well, maybe because you're white as a ghost and your arm is bleeding through your shirt?
Oh, that. Don't worry. I'll be right as rain in a few
days? Come on.
She led me into the kitchen and motioned for me to sit down. She went to the fire, ladled out some water, found a clean rag, and came over to me. Maybe this isn't a good idea. Won't your father be mad at you for bringing me back here like this?
He won't be mad, and he's not my father.
Maybe I should get Gamal to help.
You mean your father?
He's not my father. He's... Well, I can't really say exactly what he is. My teacher, my mentor, mostly my friend. Anyway, no matter what he is, he's really good with dressing wounds. And I think...
Relax. I'm good at this. I used to have to fix up my father's wounds when my mother was away. Take off your shirt.
Okay. How often did your father get into scuffles?
Fairly often.
Ow! How often was your mom away?
Almost never.
Great.
Sorry again for bumping into you the other day, and sorry about the trouble.
Don't worry about it. Worse things have happened since then.
There. Now, let me get this bandage on you.
So, where are your folks now?
They were killed last spring.
Oh. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
I know. That's why you asked.
What happened?
They were killed by some soldiers from Cydia. Look, do you want something to eat? You're awfully skinny.
Skinny? Do you really think... Sure. Thanks. Hey, what's wrong with the stew in the pot? It smells great.
So does the oleander blossom. Would you eat that?
Well, no. It's poisonous. But what does that have to do... Oh. Have I done something to upset you?
I'm sorry. It's just, I haven't spoken about the death of my family to anyone. Because I thought it would defile their memory if it became something everyone was talking about. Basically, it's no one's business but mine. And besides, no one really cares what happened but me.
That's not so. I care. I mean, if you want to tell me.
I don't think I could stand it if everyone in the village was whispering about it.
I won't tell anyone.
I know you won't. I don't know why, but I feel like I've known you for a long time. I feel like I can trust you.
I have that kind of face.
Really?
Can I help?
No, really, there's nothing that can be done. It was almost a year ago, and I should be getting on with my life.
I understand. But I was talking about helping to prepare the food.
Oh, no, you just sit there and rest up. It looks like you had a bit of trouble.
Yeah, but I got the best of them. I think they really hurt their hands while they were pummeling me.
What happened?
Just an old score. I think it's settled now. You know, you were right.
About what?
You can trust me.
There really are so few.
I think you must believe that because you're Sadean.
What makes you think I'm Sadean?
The tattoo?
I'm thinking of having my hand removed. What do you think?
Sounds kind of extreme. You're not Sadean?
By Sadean laws, I am. My father was Sadean, so they consider me to be. My father had me marked when I was 8 to avoid any trouble. But my mother was a Lorian, and so by Elorian laws, I'm a Lorian. We lived on the border, practically with one foot in each country.
Is that why your father was in a lot of scrapes? It would be hard to avoid annoying people if he lived a split life like that.
My father was a merchant. He liked to refer to himself as sovereign. He didn't like anyone telling him what to do, so he would use our circumstances when it suited him. He'd tell the Sadeans what they wanted to hear, and he'd tell the Elorians what they wanted to hear. Of course, no one ever checked, and though they'd be annoyed and give him a speech about allegiance, they'd leave us more or less alone.
So, are you Elorian or Sadean?
Neither. I'm Sirtan. And you?
I'm Max. Pleased to meet you.
Pleased to make your acquaintance. I've known your name since the other day. I asked around. Sometime you'll have to tell me how you got such a strange name.
Yeah. but not right now.
Here you go, my specialty.
Thanks. So, it sounds like your father played both sides pretty well. What happened?
Some Sedaean soldiers came through, led by General Brago. What they were doing so close to Elor, I'll never know. Guarding the border, I suppose. But why was there a general?
That does seem strange.
Anyway, my mom ushered me out the back door and told me to run to the woods. But, of course, I didn't. I hid around the side of the house and listened. For some reason, Brago wanted to take my brother with him, and my father refused. I heard swords being unsheathed and several shouts and groans. Then Brago came out of the house with my brother. They tied him up and flung him on the horse and rode off. I ran back into the house and they were all dead. My mother, my father, 2 soldiers. I didn't know what to do. I didn't even bury them. I just ran and until I ended up in this town. Mr. Underhill lets me stay here in the inn as long as I make myself useful.
I moved around the counter where I was sitting and put my arms around her. She buried her face into my shoulder and cried some more. Then she looked up and pushed me away.
Why didn't my father just give Brago what he wanted? Why? I don't understand it. All this waste. It would have been better for my brother to be conscripted into the army or whatever Brago wanted, rather than for everyone to be dead. Why didn't he just give in?
Because if he did, he wouldn't have been who he was.
You understand that?
Yes. You loved your father for who he was. If he had given up on your brother without a fight, he wouldn't be the man you loved.
I knew you'd understand. But what of you? Where are your folks? How'd you end up living with Gamal?
I barely remember my parents. Gamal rescued me from a battlefield when I was about 7. Since then, I've lived with him. He raised me, saw that I was educated, and has taken good care of me pretty much my entire conscious life. I'm lucky, really. Only
what?
Well, I shouldn't really say it, because, well, like I said, I'm really lucky that Gamal took me in. But not knowing my own background is like a huge hole in my soul that can't be filled. I'd like to know more about my parents, my history, and just once, I'd like to have a chance to make my own choice about something. That's all. She sidled up to me and locked her hands around my neck.
Ooh, I have an idea.
At dawn the next morning, I was loading up provisions into the cart in front of the inn. I remember that I was kind of grumpy because I hadn't had much sleep, and I wasn't keen on leaving town. Gamal was taking a last inventory of the cart.
Okay, looks like that's everything. Ready?
No, not really.
No. I thought you had been itching for some adventure.
Found some. Right here. I want to stay.
What? What are you talking about? Oh, the girl. I understand, Max, but listen to me. Listen to me. If you don't come with me, there's a good chance that girl will be killed.
What?
As well as everyone else in this town. Everyone you know. I need you to help stop it.
Me? What do you need me for? To lug your stuff around? Wait. I'll go get Sempa before he leaves town. He'll do it for you.
Don't be a fool, Max. You know you're more to me than a porter. You may be in love for the first time, but I need you to get a hold of yourself.
I'm sorry, Gamal. I'm half crazed.
Well, women will do that to you. But heed me now. It's worth it. Now go and say a proper goodbye and we'll get out of here. 5 minutes, no more.
So, I went back into the inn and found Searton in the kitchen. You're always chopping things. Is that a metaphor or what?
I'm sorry, Max. I saw you outside with Gamal. I didn't want to cause you any trouble.
Don't worry about that. It's all taken care of.
Look, this isn't the way I am normally. Do you understand? I'm not sure why I act this way around you. I'm usually in control. I don't know why I'm being a big baby.
I think That anyone who underestimates you would be making a big mistake. I have to go.
I know.
I'll see you soon.
I know that too.
Pretty certain, eh?
It's pronounced certain, and thanks for calling me pretty.
I'll see you soon, Searton. Gamal and I were off shortly after that. We rode along, both of us lost in our thoughts. In our silence, the cart seemed unusually loud as it ambled along the dirt trail. As the sun approached midday, Gamal tapped me on the shoulder and indicated that we should pull over by a grove of trees.
Oh, I'd forgotten what a pain in the ass traveling is. I mean, literally. I'm going to have to get a cushion for that seat.
Sounds good. Want me to go back to the village for one? Listen, I wanted to say something to you.
Yes, what is it?
I wanted to say thank you for taking me in, for treating me first like a son, and lately like an equal. Not many people are as lucky as me. I could have been killed, or ended up a slave somewhere. And if you want me to work for you for the rest of your life, then so be it. I'll have no complaints.
I've gotten as much as I've given, my boy. You've been a delight to have around. Enough of this now. We don't have much time, Max, and there's so much left to teach you. Let's eat and I'll explain something of what is going on.
We carried some salted meat and apples to the shade under a large tree and sat down on a thick patch of moss at its trunk.
There are complex forces at work here, and I can only explain the basic outline right now. As you know, 11 years ago, Elor defeated Cydia in what people have come to refer to as the last battle. Unfortunately, that isn't accurate and never could be. As part of the peace agreement, the king of Cydia swore not to attempt revenge on Elor. The king died 11 months ago. There's no male heir, so Cydia has been ruled by a provisional government. Well, there was an heir, but no one has seen him since that battle. He was only a child at the time. Over the years, a sort of cult has developed about the prince and how he will reappear just when Cydia needs him the most. The provisional government is trying to take permanent control, and if that happens, they will likely attack us. You and I are heading to the capital to try to stop it.
You know, I heard somewhere that all Cydian men are over 7 feet tall. Is that true?
One hears all kinds of things, Max. You need to learn to separate the horse sense from the horse shit.
How can I tell the difference?
Remember that any so-called fact can always be disproven with a single exception. No matter how many times your theory seems to hold true, a single instance of something not holding to the rule proves the whole thing invalid. For example, if you met a single Cydian who was, say, your height, that would disprove your theory.
So what's the point of studying? Why'd you make me learn all that stuff if we can't tell if it's true?
Because we, the human race, are on a quest. Although we can never be certain of anything, we can get nearer and nearer to the truth. We can know what things aren't. So if we eliminate all of those, what is left is the truth. But this is an ongoing process.
So we never find any answers?
Answers? Most of the time we're lucky to find the right questions.
I have lots of questions. What makes a question the right one?
Usually when faced with a problem, if we ask the right question in the right way, the answer is obvious. If the answer isn't obvious, then you're probably asking the wrong question.
When I ask you questions, you usually answer with other questions. It gets me nowhere.
My questions push you to formulate your questions correctly. Once you do that, you'll get your answer.
But if all of my questions lead to other questions, where does it end?
Well, obviously you end up with the ultimate question.
And what is that?
The ultimate question is the first and last question that you need to ask. You need to ask that question first before you can find the answer to any of your other questions.
So, what is it?
What is what?
The ultimate question.
Haven't I just told you?
No! You told me what it is, but what is it? Gamal looked at me quizzically, and I realized I wasn't making any sense. We sat in silence for a moment.
When you finally discover the ultimate question, you will truly understand all of the other questions.
Do you know this question?
Yes.
Then why won't you tell me? Why the riddles?
Because the question is useless to you unless you discover it for yourself.
And how do I do that?
Look, Max, you're not going to understand this right now, but I want you to pay attention. Sometime, maybe sometime soon, you'll find yourself without my help. If that happens, I want you to go to the sea, find a nice spot, and sit there.
Until when?
Until you discover the ultimate question. Or, perhaps, until it discovers you.
Wait a minute. Now what?
No more questions right now. We've got to get going. Just remember what I've told you.
We had been back on the road for a few hours. As we approached the crest of a hill, we saw someone standing in the road, holding up his hand for us to stop.
Mika? You again? Jeez, you're harder to get rid of than a case of diarrhea.
We've got a little score to settle, Maxie.
You know, for a big stupid guy, you're not very bright.
I was about to teach that guy yet another lesson when suddenly horses and riders surrounded us from all sides. But these were no ordinary street ruffians. They were Sadean soldiers.
What's this all about, Mika?
Oh, nothing special. I'm just here helping out my new friends. They've been looking for you. Well, at least for the old geezer there. I have no idea why, but it seems important to them, so I helped them out. The money was a nice addition.
Mika, a town rivalry is one thing, but this kind of treachery is beyond...
Enough of this! You! Are you General Gamal, the villain that massacred our people at Orlege?
Is that how they teach it? I am General of the Queen's Army of Elor. Who are you?
I am Major Ensaka, operating on direct orders from General Brago.
Well, you are conducting an illegal military operation in our country. Retreat now.
We have come to take you back with us to stand trial for the murder of thousands of Sadeans.
You will not take me.
Gamal stepped down from the cart and slowly retrieved his sword. Then he whispered to me.
Run, Max. That way. We won't win in an open fight. I cannot let them take me. I know too much to risk letting them torture it out of me. We can't win unless you escape. It's all up to you now. Everything I've taught you will be for nothing if you die here.
I'm not going to run and leave you here to...
Damn it, Max. For once, just do as you were told. I thought I would have more time to prepare you, but I don't. Just remember what I told you back at the Glen. You only have 5 days.
5 days? 5 days to do what? I tried to ask, but got interrupted.
Enough whispering! Surrender, butcher, or we will take you!
You know I can't allow that.
And Sokka motioned to the soldiers. They dismounted and started to advance, drawing their weapons. I turned to face those coming up from the rear, while Gamal continued to face straight ahead. The soldiers seemed intent on Gamal and ignored me. That was a mistake. I took out 2 of them before they even realized I was a threat. When 2 others turned on me, Gamal took them down. Then he turned to me.
Max, I love you like a son. Don't let all of our work together be for nothing. The key. Go!
His blade flashed again, but there wasn't anyone nearby. I stared in disbelief as blood sprayed out from Gamal's neck from a self-inflicted wound.
Damn you!
I ran to him, just in time to see his eyes go lifeless. I went into a fury, spinning and slashing in every direction. I'm sure I took down at least 2 of them before something hit me in the back of the head. I went down, stunned. Then they were on me, took my sword, and quickly bound me.
Let me go, you Belugaderwista! I'll take you all on, you cowards!
Mount up! This insolent boy will walk. Tie him to the back of the cart.
Yes, sir. I'll get a detail together to bury the others.
What? Those buffoons? They failed miserably. They're not soldiers, they're carrion. Leave them.
I was dragged along behind the cart for hours. I kept my head down because when I would look up, I'd end up looking into the face of my dead friend, who they had thrown like trash into the back of the wagon. Once in a while, just for fun, one of the soldiers would come over and hit me with something. Their sword, a rock, whatever was handy. It was at least an hour after dark when we approached the makeshift Sadean camp. There were several dozen soldiers milling around as we entered.
Last stop, boy. Say goodbye to your head.
Hold it. We still may have use for this youngster. Tie him up with the horses. Bring the head of the butcher to me in General Brago's tent.
Yes, sir. You looked out again, boy. This head'll make a nice souvenir.
He dragged me along and then tied me to a stake outside a large tent. I was too exhausted to do anything but lie there, but I could hear what was going on inside.
Leave me alone! I demand you release me! I'm a citizen of Cydia. You have no right to treat me in this manner. Who do you think you are?
That's the daughter of that traitor who lived on the border. I thought that we had killed her.
No, sir. The general ordered us to bring her in alive.
General Brago, sir. I'm sorry I didn't see you there. Where did you find this girl? Some of our men found her when they paid a visit to that quaint little village about a day's ride from here. What's it called? Well, no matter. It's not there anymore anyway.
You murderous pigs! By whose authority are you acting? The council's? I don't think so. And surely the prince is not returned.
May he soon return.
No, the prince has not returned. I am acting under the authority of the provisional government of Cydia, which means, of course, me.
Provisional? In 5 days there will be a new dynasty named.
If an heir isn't found, of course.
What are the chances that the prince will return after all this time?
Maybe he's waited 11 years just to make a dramatic entrance. Of course, I would welcome him with open arms. We are only holding the government for him until he returns.
Guards, Brago's a traitor. He's trying to take control of the government. And if you are true and loyal subjects of Cydia, arrest him now, before he does any further damage to our country. Arrest him in the name of the missing prince.
I hate mouthy women.
Don't you dare! Who do you...
Guards, wait outside.
Yes, sir.
What about her brother? Is he safely stowed? Yes, sir. He's in the palace. He'll be ready for the coronation. And what of this other one? What's his name? Max? What kind of name is that, anyway? We found him with the butcher Gamal, barely even old enough to shave, but he killed 4 of my men. I'm afraid he's not feeling very energetic at the moment. Well, we can use him tonight for the entertainment. What's going on? Check it out, Major. Yes, sir.
From where I was tied up, I could see several terrified soldiers with their swords half drawn, as someone familiar walked into the firelight.
Whoa, boys, I'm on your side. See the tattoo? I'm just wondering if I could hitch a ride with you back home.
The soldiers lowered their guard a bit, and Ensaka stepped toward Sempa.
What are you doing in enemy territory?
I'm a scout. Well, a spy, really. I was here getting information on the enemy, but it's gotten too hot for me. I'm going home.
I know of no spies assigned here. Who do you work for?
I work for the prince, of course. May he soon return. But I got my orders from Colonel Melda. Send a message to him if you like.
You needn't worry. We will. In the meantime, you are welcome to travel with us. You must pull your weight, though. This is not a pleasure trip. Report to Captain Frumd for a work detail.
I think I kind of fell asleep or passed out, but when I woke, the soldiers had gathered in a circle around a campfire. Searton was there, tied up and no longer gagged, but disheveled and seated next to Brego. And, can you believe it? Mika was there, sitting on the sidelines, gleefully rubbing his hands together. What a gatterwista.
We are low on sugar and coffee. Any soldier found hoarding these items will be quickly and severely punished. Scouts should keep an eye out for farms or other residences where these items could be acquired. That is the end of the announcements for the day. Next, we have some entertainment. Get the boy.
2 soldiers came over and hoisted me up and carried me to the center of the circle.
Let go of me, you Gadowistas!
This youngster interfered with the capture of the butcher and caused us to fail in our mission. Many of us had fathers and brothers who died in the massacre of Orlige. Who here would take their revenge on this one, the son of the butcher? For the privilege of avenging our honor, who among you has distinguished himself on this campaign? You must decide amongst yourselves.
Hey, who should we pick?
How about Guma? Why not Wigga? Haled. Yeah, Haled.
That's enough. You have chosen. Corporal Haled, step forward.
Stand up, Elurian fungi. Stand up, I said, or I'll kill you where you lay.
Stop it! Stop it!
So, this next part is a little rough to recount. When I heard Searton's voice, something inside of me snapped. As Corporal Haled moved to kick me again, I spun around on the ground, swept his feet out from under him, scrambled up next to him, and then, and I'm not particularly proud of this, but my hands were tied behind my back. I bent over and grabbed his windpipe with my teeth and yanked it out. I had bitten so deep, he bled out in seconds.
There's your distinguished soldier.
As you might imagine, that kind of pissed them off. They all jumped up as if by command and drew their swords. I was seconds away from becoming a pincushion when...
Wait! Let me take care of this maggot. Put your swords away. I will not fall for some silly-ass trick.
Hold it. It does not become us as men of honor to butcher a man like so many of our people were butchered. This boy has shown that although clearly evil, he has fire in him, and that should be respected. Let him have his chance. We will each fight this boy down to the last man if necessary. If he can defeat us all, then he will live. I do not think that the prince himself could do that, but it is right to give him the chance. Let the stranger have at him first. Perhaps General Brego will reward the man among us who can defeat this spawn of the demon Gamal.
May the prince preserve me.
Sempa came at me with a fury I didn't know he was capable of. With my hands still bound behind me, all I could do was duck and weave. He hit me again and again. I was dumbfounded. Why was he treating me like this?
Wait, this is too easy. If I am to have any fun with this at all, we need to let the kid have the use of his arms. And I'll need a handicap.
What would you have us do? Chop your legs down so that you're the same size?
I was thinking of maybe... why not give me an extra burden? I know. Strap that wench onto my back. Make sure she's bound tightly, though. I want to save the scratching for later.
2 of the taller soldiers picked up Searton and hoisted her onto Sempa's back.
You bloody fungi! I'll kill you myself, you son of a mushroom eater!
Ooh, such a mouth on this one. I like it. Okay, boy, let's see what you've got.
So, between having my hands untied and the bit of rest, I was able to get to my feet and restart the fight. I started to understand what Senpa's game was. Only I could tell that Senpa was taking it a little easy on me, but I kept up appearances as we continued to fight. We moved the fight to the outer edge of the circle, right next to Mikka. He was having a great time watching the spectacle. Just then, I thrust out a devastating sidekick. Not at Senpa, but right into Mikka's chest. Since I caught him off guard, the kick crushed his ribs. I could feel them break off and pierce right into his heart. I didn't have time to look, but I knew he would be dead in seconds.
I think it's time to go, Max.
Senpa shrugged Sirtin off of his shoulders, drew his sword, and in one deft movement, cut her ropes and sliced off a soldier's hand who had begun to reach for his sword.
Kill them! Kill all 3 of them now! No. Capture the girl, kill the other 2. And Sokka, deal with this mess you created.
Max, run! Get out of here! I'll hold them off!
I'm not leaving you here to die! We'll get out together or not at all!
Don't be pig-headed! You have to survive to stop this! Get out now, before it's too late!
Sirtin, make for the woods! Now!
Sirtin broke free from the circle and started running. I didn't want to leave Senpa, but I followed her into the night. When we could run no further, Sirtin and I huddled under the cover of a large pine tree. It was raining down in buckets, and we were both drenched and cold.
This rain should hamper their search and help to cover our tracks. We're lucky.
You call this lucky?
Well, relatively speaking. I really didn't want to leave Senpa back there, but he seemed so insistent. Like he knows something I don't.
Who is he anyway? What's he have to do with all of this?
I only just met him, sparred with him a bit. I have no idea why he would risk his life for us like that. He knew Gamal, somehow. Hey, where'd you learn to fight like that?
My father taught me. We always used wooden swords, though. That's the first time I've ever used a sharp one.
Quite a man, your father.
Brr.
I guess we can't risk lighting a fire.
Yep. It'd make it too easy to spot us. I'm assuming they'll come after us.
Oh, you can count on it. Doing what you did to a group of Sedaeans, you might as well have cut their herpin' off.
I've never met a woman who talks like you.
Well, you should get out more.
Don't misunderstand me. I like it. I hate having to watch what I say all the time.
Me too. Maybe we were meant to find each other.
I don't think so.
Why not? I mean, the way we were both captured by those thugs, hell of a coincidence, don't you think?
No.
No?
No. It was just what happened. If it hadn't happened, we wouldn't be talking about it right now. We just wouldn't have noticed. No one ever notices the coincidences that don't happen.
What an odd way of thinking about that.
Anyway, the important question is, what now?
Good question. What are our options?
Well, one scenario is we get away, far away, build a cabin in the woods, have children, and live out our lives in peace and happiness.
Sounds good to me.
Why do I have this feeling that that's not how this is going to turn out?
'Cause you're a pessimist?
Maybe.
What's scenario 2?
I follow the last instructions given to me by Gamal.
Last instructions?
Yes. He killed himself. To avoid being captured by the Sedaeans.
Oh, Max, I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
Of course not. How could you? I just forgot that you weren't with me.
ever since I met you, I get the feeling that you're with me all the time.
I know what you mean. So, what were his instructions?
He told me to... Well, I'm not exactly sure what he told me to do. We talked about something he called the ultimate question, but I didn't pay too much attention at the time. Then, right before he... Anyway, he said I had 5 days.
5 days to do what?
I don't know exactly. Find the ultimate question, I guess. Wait a second. He said that if I found myself without his help, I should go to the sea.
And do what?
Sit there.
In the sea?
Yes. Well, no, of course, on the beach. I guess.
What for?
He didn't say.
Did he say how long?
No. As long as it takes, I guess.
But how will that help?
How will it help what? I don't even know what the problem is.
Well, I have to go to Dajir.
Into Cydia? To the capital? Why?
First of all, we're already in Cydia.
We are?
Yes, we crossed the border when we were running. This is the area I grew up in. I know it like the tops of my toes.
It doesn't look any different.
What did you expect? Lightning-filled skies and ominous music? Anyway, I've got to get to the capital to warn the council.
What council?
The interim governing council. The king died almost a year ago. The rules of succession say that there must be a male heir to the throne. There isn't one. Well, there was one, but he's been missing since the Battle of Orlej. In reality, he's dead. Only, since his body was never found, no one is willing to admit it. The king had a brother, but he disappeared years ago. The law says that there must be a new king crowned within 1 year of the death of the king, or a new royal dynasty has to be named. In the meantime, a provisional government is established, so in a few days, a new royal family will take over, and Brego will be out of a job.
Good riddance.
Brego's power mad. There's even some speculation that he killed the king himself. He has this plan to install a fake prince as a puppet king while he retains the real control.
And this involves you how?
I just happen to know about it. He must be stopped, and I want to find out what happened to my brother. Oh, and I want to kill Brego.
That's quite an agenda. How are you...
Shh. I think I hear them.
I love you. Run!
Yeah! There he is. Get him!
I rolled out of our improvised tree hut and took off running.
Come on, you Gatterweasters! See if you can catch me!
I procured a horse from a soldier who no longer needed it. At least, after I was done with him. My hope was that I had drawn away enough of the men so that Sirtin could escape and go the other direction. After an hour of dodging this way and that, I lost them. Now I found myself wandering through some scrub pines, not sure what to do next. Well, horse, now what? I have no idea where Sirtin went. I have no idea where I am. And I don't have a clue which way the sea is. Here's a clearing. Well, Gamal always said that if you don't know what to do, at least don't do anything stupid. So I tied the horse to a dead log, collected some of the less prickly branches, and lay down for what I thought would be just a few minutes. Well, it could be worse. It could still be raining. I woke up with seawater in my mouth. I spit it out and tried to stand up, but the water and mud was everywhere and I couldn't get a footing. My horse was struggling to stay afloat, but couldn't because it was anchored to the log. It went under. I started trying to tread water, but as I did, I just sank deeper. I looked all around me in the early dawn light and couldn't see anything in the dense fog.
Lie on your back.
I spun around, but couldn't get a bearing on the voice.
Lie on your back and relax your muscles or you're a goner.
I was able to kick my feet up and relax my muscles, although it wasn't easy, given the situation. Then I felt something hit my arm. A rope.
Grab hold of it, man.
I grabbed the rope and felt myself being dragged through the mud. I ended up on this tiny island no more than a few feet across, panting, looking up at the guy who had saved me.
Need some help?
Thank you. I'll be quite all right in a moment.
It seems that we both misjudged the tides. When I found that this quagmire was closing in on me, I quickly made for the highest ground I could find. It was lucky you were so close by. My rope would not have reached much further.
I was asleep. I didn't realize what was happening.
You and most people.
What?
That explains why you did not answer me when I called out. I heard your horse panicking, but it was still dark and I couldn't see you.
I was having a dream. I felt that I was close to finding the answer that I'm searching for.
You came very close to finding the ultimate answer, my friend.
What is the ultimate answer? I believe that this is what I'm looking for.
Who isn't? But better still, you should ask, what is the ultimate question? Once you know that, finding the ultimate answer is merely a matter of time.
Then what is the ultimate question? Will you tell me, please?
I can neither tell you, nor would I want to if I could. You must find the question for yourself.
Do you yourself know this question?
What question?
The ultimate question.
What is the ultimate question?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
Well then, young man, until you can define your terms, how would you have me answer?
Who are you?
Better still, you should ask, who am I?
I just did.
Bah, I thought so.
Oh, I get it. You said that I should ask, who am I? Not, who are you?
Yes.
I'm Max.
I really don't care who you say you are.
Then why did you ask?
I didn't ask who you are. I said that you would be better off asking who you are than asking who I am.
When do you think that we'll be able to leave here?
When the mud recedes.
And when will that be?
How do you expect me to answer that? I'm not a fortune teller.
Then what are you?
That depends on your frame of reference. There she is.
There who is? Oh, you mean that rickety old boat? From out of the mist, only a few dozen paces away from us, appeared a dilapidated old clapboard houseboat.
Soon I shall return home.
Where do you live?
Wherever I am.
I know. But where is your home?
I came from somewhere you have never heard of, but that is not my home. My home is somewhere I have never been.
Then how can you return there?
Good question. I've spent my life trying to figure that out.
No, I mean...
I know what you mean. Shut up. Max, in order to understand anything, you must first stop arguing with everyone. You seem like a smart guy, I'll grant you that. But if you want to learn anything, you first have to open yourself to it. You can't pour tea into a cup if it's already full.
Will you please help me to search for the ultimate question?
Yes.
Where shall we begin?
You have already begun. I have already finished. Therefore, we need not begin anywhere.
Shall I come home with you?
I hardly think so. You have much to learn before you can go where I am going. But come on, let's get to the boat.
He stood up and started walking toward the boat. He was hardly leaving any footprints in the mud, so I just started walking after him. Then suddenly, I sunk down to my thighs. Hey! Slow down! He ignored me, went to the boat, stepped up on the ladder, and hopped aboard. As he disappeared into the cabin, I slogged my way to the boat and finally got aboard. The deck boards creaked so loudly that I thought they were going to break through. I found him in the galley, cooking a small fish.
My, you are a bit rough, aren't you? I thought that you were going to stomp through my deck before you made it this far.
What's with the fish?
I caught it on the way here, while you were frolicking in the mud. Funny how you drylanders sink so much.
You haven't told me your name. He smiled and nodded. Do you have a name?
Sure.
Would you mind telling me what it is?
Not at all.
What is your name?
Gafera.
Why didn't you tell me this before?
You didn't ask.
Oh, come on. My meaning was clear.
To assume that one understands your question often causes you to have to listen politely to the wrong answer. It's better to be direct. The shortest distance between two minds is a well-worded question.
But what about politeness?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Never mind.
If you wanted someone to cook you some food, you wouldn't ask him if he owns a frying pan, would you?
No.
Then if you wanted to know my name, why would you ask me if I had one?
I don't know. That's a good point.
Communicating through language is hard enough as it is. There's no reason to confuse the issue with extra words or roundabout sentences.
Okay. Can I have some of your fish?
No.
Later that morning, it was still too muddy for the boat to move. I stood in the muddy water just off the bow, trying to catch a fish. Fungi! Haven't you heard of fishing poles? What turnip cart did you fall off of anyway? You know, just because you got lucky with that skimpy little fish doesn't make you the grandmaster fish catcher or anything. Ugh! Fungi! Still chuckling, Gafera stepped out onto the ladder and, without so much as a pause, pulled a fish out of the water. What? Are you kidding me? Can I have that?
No.
And, can you believe it? He tossed the dicey fish back into the water and started laughing so hard he doubled over. You know, you could try working on your people skills a little. It's not polite to laugh at others' misfortunes.
Yes, but you're so damn funny.
All right, I give up. Will you please tell me how to do that?
Yes, I will tell you. You are trying too hard. Try softer.
Softer?
Yes, softer. Don't try to catch the fish as in a contest. Instead, call it to your hand.
Talk to the fish?
Not with words. Open your hand and simply expect a fish to swim into it.
But for what reason would I expect a fish to swim into my hand?
Only for the reason that when you do, it happens.
But until it does happen, there's no reason for me to think so.
Only one reason.
What is that?
Faith.
Faith in a fish.
No, faith in yourself.
I have a lot of faith in myself.
No, you have confidence in yourself. You have very little faith.
Are you asking me to believe stuff that doesn't make sense?
No, I'm not asking you to do anything. You asked me how to catch a fish.
And I can do it through faith?
I don't know if you can do it at all. That remains to be seen. But that is how I do it. If you can learn how to call the fish to you, you will also be able to walk on the deck of the ship without cracking the boards.
What does the one have to do with the other?
In both cases, you must give up fighting with things. Instead, trust that these things and the universe will support you on your journey.
My journey? What journey?
The journey to find the ultimate question.
The universe is going to support me on this journey?
If you let it.
Does that mean I'm somehow special?
Of course you are.
Why me?
Why not?
That's not a reasonable answer.
Neither is yours a reasonable question. Why not you?
There's nothing special about me.
Really? Oh, well. Then perhaps I've got the wrong guy. Well, too bad.
Just then, the boat began rocking, having come free of the mud.
Aha! Well, I'll soon be on my way. Too bad about having to leave you here to drown and all. Well, it can't be helped, I suppose.
Really?
Well, I suppose that we could just pretend for a while that you're special. Won't hurt, I guess, since there's no one else here anyway. Let's get going. But please, try not to break through my deck. I'm an old man, and I don't have the energy to fix it anymore.
I started shaking off the mud. Gafera looked at me incredulously. Sorry. Do you have a mop? Oh. If you have a mop, where is it?
In the galley. And try not to break anything while you're in there, okay?
Yeah. Gafera?
Yes?
Your boat doesn't have a rudder.
Yes. And?
Well, how do you get anywhere?
The tides take me.
Yeah, but how do you get any specific place?
Anywhere I go is a specific place.
Yeah, but... You know, I have something that I'm supposed to do, and I only have 4 days left to do it.
Really? What is it you're supposed to do?
Well, I actually don't know, but it seemed important. I went into the galley and found a mop. When I came out, Gafera was standing in the exact same spot he had been, but now he was holding a gift-wrapped package. What's that?
A present.
For who?
You.
Really? Thanks. You shouldn't have.
Really? Well, okay then. Give it back.
Wait a second. Okay, just... Thanks.
You're welcome.
I unwrapped the package. It was a black lacquer box. What's in it?
Go ahead and open it. I'll warn you, though, you may not be able to get it to open at first.
I'll say I may not be able to get it open.
When you can open the box, you will have learned everything that I can teach you.
What are you, some sort of world expert on box opening or something? Okay. Sorry. I need to figure out how to get the box opened, and then I will have learned something that I need to know to discover the ultimate question.
Yes. Oh, and Max?
Yes?
Not another word until you open it. I mean it. Or I will throw you over the side. Shh. Not another word. I don't care if it takes you 9 months to do it.
9 months?
Quiet. This is the task you must accomplish to move forward in your quest. Nothing else must occupy you until it is done. Except for mopping up my deck first.
I won't waste your time narrating all the ways that I tried to open that box. I started with tugging and twisting, and then tried prying, then hitting it. I even dropped it from the mast. Nothing! I'm not sure how much time went by. One morning, I woke up to see Gafera standing a few feet in front of me, holding the box. With barely any effort, he opened it. Then, he shut it again. I started to cry out.
Quiet!
He handed the box back to me, and I just sat there, thinking, all day. I thought of everything I had learned from Gamal and everything Gafera had told me. Then, I remembered the fish. So, I leaned over and just opened the box.
Marvelous.
Gafera was there in front of me.
How did you do it?
I just expected it to open. And it did.
How did you know that it would?
Because I knew that it was time for me to go.
He smiled at me and offered me a hand up. I was pretty stiff from sitting there all day. I looked inside the box.
What's this?
Looks like a chain with a key on it.
Yes, but what is it for? What does it open?
Beats me.
Then why did you give it to me?
I didn't. It was in the box.
Well, yeah, but you gave me the box.
What makes you think that I had any idea what was in it?
Well,
you sure make a lot of assumptions. Better keep it, though. That key must have something to do with your journey.
Why?
Because it was in the box. Boy, are you dense sometimes.
Yeah, but... never mind.
I put the chain around my neck. We stood there for a moment, looking out over the sea.
There are 2 beaches out there. Can you make it to one of them? I have things I have to do.
Which one?
I don't think it matters, since I have no idea where we are anyway. Do you?
No.
Can you turn the sail and bring the boat about? I need to get to one of those beaches.
Which one?
I told you, it makes no difference.
Certainly it makes a difference. One is the right one, and one is not.
Then how am I to decide?
You can't decide. You have to choose.
What are you talking about?
You have no way of knowing which is the right path, and yet you must choose anyway.
Great. I solve one problem only to be presented with another. But how do I figure out which one to go to?
I told you, you can't figure it out. There's no way to know which one is the right one. You simply have to choose.
But what if I choose wrong?
Then you have lost, and thousands will die needlessly.
Great.
There is one consolation, though.
What's that?
If you choose wrong, you won't live long enough to see the calamities that result.
Gee, I feel so much better now.
We are drifting away from the beaches while you stand there and dither. Choose.
I don't know how.
Without warning, he pushed me over the side.
There isn't always a way to decide. Sometimes we just have to choose. Swim. Swim and choose.
On a hunch, I started swimming towards the furthest beach. I reached the shoreline as my arms began to cramp, but I managed to crawl up onto the sea strand. Catching my breath, I raised myself up on my elbows and looked around. Nothing but surf and sand dunes for as far as I could see. I stood up and was brushing the sand off when...
Great! Now what?
I couldn't locate specifically where the sounds were coming from, so I scrambled up a sand dune to look around. Just over the hill, I saw 2 soldiers being fended off by a young woman with a sword. They seemed to find the whole thing funny.
Stay back, you funky mushroom lovers! I'm warning you, I know how to swing a sword!
Unbelievably, it was Sirtan. I slid down the sand dune and ran toward the soldiers. They took one look at me, dropped their swords, and ran.
What? Really? Gatterwistas. Hey, Sirtan. I'm always pulling you out of some jam or another, aren't I?
She just about fainted, so I grabbed her and hugged her. We sank to the sand, and I rested her head against my shoulder.
When moon
rises as the sunset dies. Be sure to follow that path, my dear. For on that path redemption lies. Then you will have nothing to fear.
I knew you'd come back.
Of course. We'd better get going to Dogier, in case those soldiers find some gumption. Or some friends. I have a lot to tell you. As we put some distance between us and the sand dunes, I related all of the events of the past several days.
And all of this happened before you ran into me on the beach?
Yes.
But that isn't possible. We only got separated yesterday. You haven't been gone that long. Have you checked your head for bumps?
My head feels fine. It was real, I swear it.
I'm sure you think so, Max.
Fine. Don't believe me.
Okay. So, anyway, you figured out the solution. What's the ultimate question?
Who am I?
Oh, you really did hurt yourself, didn't you?
No, I mean that's the question. The ultimate question. Who am I?
That's it?
Yes.
Seems kind of lame to me. You're Max, the orphan kid with the weird name who became a world-class fighter. And a decent singer, I might add.
I don't know. Maybe it was a dream. Maybe I was so tired I fell asleep on the beach and didn't realize where I was. Maybe the horse ran off overnight. Who knows?
Well, look, what matters is that we found each other again. And that we're headed to Dogier to... Say, why are you going to Dogier?
Because you're going there and I'm going to help you?
Max, I've never heard such a crock of mushroom soil in my life. Come on, what's the real reason?
Really? I'm going to help you.
Well, I don't want to go anymore. I changed my mind.
We have to go, to warn the council.
Look, you may be a kook, but you know that I love you. You can tell me anything, really. Why have you decided to go to Dogier?
It all made so much sense.
What did?
You'll laugh.
No, I won't, I swear.
All of the details. Me getting found on the battlefield, Gamal raising me, him sending me on this quest. The deadline for finding the heir, it just seemed that...
That what? Oh, Max, you didn't. You thought that you were the prince? I'm sorry, it's just... Look, sweetie, I can see where you'd have that idea. I mean, the whole thing has been a hell of a coincidence. But trust me, I mean, what are the chances of something like that? This isn't some stupid children's story, is it? This is real life, Max. This is you and me standing on this gravel road. If there's any magic in that, it's between us.
She sidled up to me and started to kiss me. Lightly at first, then with more insistence. This wasn't like Sirtan. For no reason I could explain, I felt suspicious. I pulled away, and when I looked in her eyes, there were tears. No! I don't know why, but it's not right. Sirtan, I love you, but we have to stay on track here.
Okay, look, let's get away. Let's go build the cabin in the woods, get married, and live happily ever after. This mess isn't our responsibility.
You know we can't. We couldn't live with ourselves. We have to try.
But why, Max? Why us? I know it. You'll end up just like my father.
Who you loved. Maybe I am like your father. He died for what he believed in. I have to do this. It's the last thing Gamal asked me to do.
No, please come away with me now. If you love me, you'll come with me.
Sirtan, what's gotten into you? There's something you're not telling me.
No. There's nothing. If you have to go, then let's go.
She pulled away from me and started walking down the road. A long time passed without her saying anything. It was getting very uncomfortable. When the moon rises, da 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 dum da la da 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 path, my dear, dum 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 redemption lies, and you will have nothing to fear.
What is that song? You've been singing it for an hour. Come to think of it, you sang it to me on the beach.
It's a song I learned when I was a child. It's pretty much the only thing I remember from the time before Gamal found me.
It's a nice little tune, and it has this strange way of making me feel comforted. What does it mean?
I have no idea. Just a silly kid's song, I suppose. Wait a minute. Haven't we been here before? This looks familiar.
This is what city looks like, sorry. It's not as built up as Elor. Another reason why I never liked staying here.
No, I'm sure that we were here before.
It's your imagination. Look, I never liked coming here, but my father used to drag me around with him on some of his less dangerous trips. This is definitely the way to Dogier.
But we haven't passed a town or even a farm the entire time we've been walking.
I told you, this place is desolate. I'm not even sure why someone would want to roll it.
We need horses. We're never going to make it in time.
Relax, we've still got 3 days.
Not even a cart or a horse or anything. What? Really? Someone's coming now.
We better hide until we see who it is. It could be Ansaka or some of his soldiers.
Okay. Watch out, though. There's a lot of thorns. It's only an old man.
Hold on, we better wait and see.
I think you'd better get a grasp on reality. It's just an old man. Hello.
Hello.
Do you mind if I ask you a question?
That's a question already.
Right. Do you mind if I ask you another question? Wait, okay. Look, is this the right road to get to Dogier?
Yep.
And how far is it?
On foot or by horse?
Does the distance change based on the mode of transport?
Got me there. But you know, there's a world of difference between a wise man and a wise ass.
Hey! Hey! I'm glad you find this so funny.
Oh, come on. You've got to admit you wisecracked your way right out of a ride. Serves you right.
We'd started walking.
Hey!
What?
You're going the wrong way, smartass. This way.
Nice people you got here. Oh, and Sirton?
Yes.
Remind me later to taunt you about your sense of direction, okay?
Okay.
The next day, we finally got to Dogier. It was much bigger than the village, with hundreds of houses, shops, and taverns surrounding the castle, which stood high in the center of the city. There were thousands of people bustling around the town square. Soldiers were stationed throughout. There was an excitement in the air. Okay, we've got to get to the castle and warn the council. Is this town always this crowded?
No, this is the busiest I've ever seen it. Look, we've still got 2 days. I think we better get settled in an inn and assess the situation before we go barging.
What are you talking about? We don't have any time to lose. Come on.
How are you planning to get in to see the council?
Well, I was just going to walk up to the castle and ask.
You can't just walk up to the castle and speak to the council. Boy, you really do need to get out more.
Do you have a better plan?
No.
Well, until you do, let's go with my approach, okay? We walked up the hill to the main gate, and I walked right up to a guard that was standing there.
What do you want?
We wish to speak to the council. It's very important.
Well, they're busy. What's your business?
I'm sorry. We can only discuss it with them.
Then you'll have to come back after the coronation.
Coronation?
Yeah.
Of who?
The prince, of course.
The prince?
Haven't you heard? Where have you been? The prince has been found!
He has?
You really haven't heard? Brago found him in Elor. They've been holding him all these years to use against us. They found him just in time, too. The new dynasty would have been named at dusk today.
Today? I thought there were 2 more days.
Nope.
I turned to look at Sirton, but she was gone. Where'd she go?
She ran off that way.
fungi!
Yeah, nice talking to you too.
I ran off in the direction that the guard had indicated, but I couldn't find her. I was getting increasingly panicked, but then I was relieved to see her up ahead. I caught up and grabbed her arm. Searton! What do you think you're—
Who are you? What do you want? Let go of me!
I'm sorry, lady. I thought you were—
Help! This Elorian is trying to kill me! Help!
Everyone in the street turned to look at me. I wasn't sure what to do, so I just ran. I ran a bit, then entered a little alleyway and sat down to catch my breath and assess the situation. Then a huge hand grabbed my shoulder.
What are you doing out here in public? Come with me, Mushroom for Brains.
Sempa! I can't believe it! Thank the stars! He half-dragged me down the street and into a seedy-looking tavern, where he proceeded to plop me in a booth in the back, facing away from the door.
Sit here, face the wall, be quiet. I'll be right back.
When sunset dies, be sure to follow.
That's your idea of quiet? Did it occur to you that walking around here was dangerous without a Sedaean tattoo?
I know, but Brago is trying to take over the government by installing a fake prince. And I was just trying—
Yeah, I know all about what's happening. But you can't just go waltzing around town. You're lucky you're not in the stockade, or worse.
I can't believe you got away. How is that possible?
It was sheer luck. Right after you left, the cavalry arrived.
Someone rescued you?
Yes, the cavalry, the Elorian cavalry. Once they showed up, the Sedaeans got sidetracked and I escaped.
That's unbelievable.
Pretty lucky, right?
No, literally unbelievable. I'm starting not to trust anyone. Not you, not even Searton.
She's here? Where? She's working for Brago. They're trying to install her brother as king. Did you know she's part of the royal family?
What? I don't believe it. Are you sure?
I heard it directly from someone in the Resistance.
Resistance?
You're not the only one trying to stop this, Max.
And you're sure she's in on it?
Yes. She's been seen with Brago all over the palace.
That explains why she lied to me. And why—
Why what?
Never mind. You know what? This doesn't have anything to do with me. I'm just getting the hell out of Dogier.
Sit down! You'll never get out of town. Brago knows you're here, and anyway, I need your help.
What for? A little while later, I was in the town square, which was packed with people. A podium had been set up for some kind of ceremony. I was wearing gloves that Sempa gave me to hide my lack of the Sedaean tattoo, and I was mingling in. Sempa was a few dozen yards away. Trumpets blared, and all eyes turned toward the podium. A very serious-looking man stepped forward.
Ladies and gentlemen of the realm, the Lord General Brago will now speak.
Thank you. Thank you. Today I bring you news that we have waited 10 years to hear. It can only be seen as providence that we have regained what we had lost at this moment in our hour of dire need. You all know that since the passing of our great king, we have intensified the quest to find the long-missing prince. Today, I am delighted to inform you that he has been found. "10 years ago, our beloved prince was where he should have been, at the side of his father during our valiant fight against our oppressors. Though only 7 years old, he was seen giving aid to our soldiers as they fought to the last against overwhelming odds. And then, in a cruel scheme hatched by senior members of the government of Elor, the cruel scheme was hatched to deprive us not only of our land and treasure, but also of our only heir to the throne.
As Brago spoke, I was working my way up toward the front of the crowd.
In a total breach of the protocol of war, as well as a breach of basic human compassion, the Elorians kidnapped our beloved prince and raised him as one of their own. In fact, he was raised by our worst enemy, the Butcher of Orlige. But within this month, the prince has been found, and the Butcher of Orlige, General Gamal, has been killed. And to regain his honor, the madman has been put to death by the very boy that he raised. The butcher was beheaded by the prince himself. And so, without further delay, I give you the one true Prince of Cydia.
The so-called prince was pushed out onto the stage by someone. He clearly didn't know what to do, so Brago led him up toward the front of the stage, where he stood, dumbfounded. After a moment, Brago grabbed his hand and raised it in the air in a gesture of victory. That was my cue. I started chanting,
Fraud! Fraud! Fraud, fraud, fraud! He's a fraud and I can prove it!
You can't believe this crazy young man. Guards, get rid of him.
He's a fraud and I can prove it!
Several soldiers approached and grabbed me.
Enough out of you, youngster.
Now, as I was saying...
Let him speak!
Guards, get him out of here now! And now we will hear from our sovereign, the prince, soon to be king of Cydia.
Look at his hand! The prince was not old enough to be marked.
Oh my god!
Wait, he's right.
He was too young.
Fraud! 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 Fraud!
As planned, Sempa motioned to several accomplices in the crowd. A rock was thrown. A soldier reacted. Pushing began, a punch was thrown, a sword was drawn, and pretty soon an all-out riot broke out. I dispatched one of the soldiers and grabbed his sword. The crowd pushed in and overwhelmed the rest of the soldiers. Brago grabbed the so-called prince by the arm and headed toward the castle. I went after him, but was slowed down by the crowd. I saw Brago and the young man running into the palace. The soldiers couldn't hold back the throng, and I was swept into the courtyard. I managed to get to the side and work my way to the front entrance. I had to handle a few guards, but I made it inside. Once inside, it was eerily quiet. I was in a huge foyer. The ceiling was so high I could barely make out the frescoes painted on it. There were 8 passageways, each with a tapestry hanging over it, heading in all directions. I had no idea which one Brago had taken. So, like I learned from Gamal, I stopped and assessed the situation. I was a little keyed up.
When moon rises as the sunset dies, be sure to follow that path, my dear. Fungi!
I looked up at one of the tapestries that showed a sun setting behind a mountain. To the left of the sunset, the moon was rising. Crazy or not, I decided that this was the hallway to choose. I started to run. The castle seemed abandoned. I didn't encounter anyone the entire way. Running at top speed, it took me nearly 3 minutes to reach the end of the hallway. At the far end of the corridor was a mausoleum. Large stone coffins were placed in a circle, filling the room. Flowers adorned one of them. I figured this was the final resting place of the recently deceased king. The place was empty, so I started looking around. In the center of the room, as though the focal point of the caskets, stood a small marble altar. On the altar was a golden tabernacle. I walked up the 3 steps to it and examined it closely. On the front was a keyhole. I suddenly remembered the key around my neck. Someone was coming, so I hid to one side, behind one of the crypts.
Sirton!
Max?
What are you doing here?
Me? What are you doing here? This palace must be, what, the size of a small ocean, and we just happened to run into each other? This is too weird.
But what are you doing here? Why did you lie to me? What's going on? Was the whole thing a setup?
No, please, Max, let me explain. No, let me sum up. Brego's holding my brother, and he's going to prop him up as a puppet king so he can stay in power. They caught me when we were separated in the woods, and Brego told me that if you thwarted their plans, the first thing he would do would be to slit my brother's throat. I tried to stop you from coming. When I realized that you would figure out what I was up to, I ran back here to try to protect my brother. Brego's thugs have been using me to make sure my brother cooperates, so they've been parading me around the palace, but always under guard. When the riot began, the soldiers ran out to fight and left me unguarded. So I just ran, and I ended up here. They might be right behind me. What are you doing here?
Following the advice my mother gave me.
What?
Never mind. Look at this tabernacle.
So?
It's locked.
And?
I happen to have a key right here.
And therefore?
I'm betting it'll open it.
Remind me to play poker with you sometime.
I started to take the key from around my neck, but someone else was coming down the hall, too quickly for us to hide. It was Brego.
So, my lady.
Stop calling me that!
You still haven't figured it out, have you? Do you really think I will allow you to spoil a plan I have spent 10 years devising? You are a fool if you think I will let you help your brother. And what's this, you again? Fungi, I should have killed you at the camp, boy. Let's get this over with.
I'm going to enjoy this, you Gatterweesta!
It's only a matter of time, boy. Your Elorian tricks are no match for the Sedaean fighting style.
And then I remembered Gamal's advice. Brego came in for the kill, wielding his sword in a wide arc toward my head. I knelt, thrust it upwards, straight toward his chest, but he managed to turn at the last second and just barely avoid being skewered. I had him, though. He couldn't defend against my straight-on attack. I was just about to finish him off when he managed to grab Sirton.
It's over, youngster. Put the sword down.
Max, don't!
It's always so easy to get the drop on you good guys.
He let go of Sirton and rushed at me, swinging his sword with glee. All I could do was duck and move away. I backed up behind one of the stone coffins, but I was still within reach of his sword, and my back was to the wall.
I have you now, dizzy outlander.
He raised his sword for the final blow when... He stopped mid-swing and looked down at the sword popping out through his stomach. He said, "Huh," and then crumpled to the ground. Behind him stood Sirton, holding the dripping blade. She tossed the sword to the floor.
We don't have time for this fair fight, Fungi. Let's see what's in that vault. Do you have the key?
Yep. Here, you do it.
It doesn't work. It's not the right key.
Really? Let me try. We can't let a little thing like having the wrong key stop us now, can we?
How did you do that?
I just expected it to work. And so it did.
Does that work on other things?
Well, we'll see. I fully expect you to marry me later. These look like birth and death records for the royal family. Here, look at this one. It's for the prince.
It's got his footprints from when he was a baby. This'll prove that your brother isn't the prince.
Okay, let's take this and get out of here. With that bastard dead, everyone will be confused, and maybe we can get to the council.
Wait a second.
What are you doing?
Taking off my shoe.
I can see that, but why?
I just want to see if it's possible to really tell if someone's footprints match. Check to see if you can— Traitor! Brago was up, blood gushing from his stomach, sword in hand, charging at Searton. I jumped to my feet and stepped between them, knocking Searton to the side, my sword already up and swinging. The last thing I remember was thrusting my sword into Brago's neck and feeling a searing pain in my side. Then everything went black. The next thing I remember is hearing that childhood song.
When moon rises as the sunset dies, be sure to follow that path, my dear, for on that path redemption lies. Then you will have nothing to fear.
When I opened my eyes, the sun was shining and a gentle breeze was blowing through the windows. I turned towards the singing, which made me wince.
Try not to move. You don't want to start bleeding again.
I know that song.
You should. I sang it to you every night of your life until you were 7.
Who are you?
Bedouin, I am your mother.
Bedouin?
Yes, my darling, that's your given name.
And you're?
Your mother.
I never had a mother before.
Not that you can remember.
Hey, stranger, I missed you.
Searton, hi. What the heck is going on?
Longina, do you mind if I share a moment with your son?
Certainly, my lady.
My lady?
I could have gotten out of the way, you know.
Well, you were taking forever, so I thought I'd better do something.
It's not up to you to fix everything, you know. Other people can do stuff too. Promise me you won't do something like that ever again.
No problem. Do you have any idea how much that hurt?
Yes, sure.
No, I don't think you do. You know, you see guys take a sword in the gut in the theater, but you know what? It's clear to me now that those actors don't actually have any experience.
Do you ever shut up? You really scared me. Don't ever do that again.
You got it. So?
So what?
So what? What happened? Why are you wearing a crown? Did you check the footprints? How could my name possibly be Bedouin?
One question at a time, Max. It turns out that my brother and I are in the royal line. My father was brother to the former king.
How is that possible? You lived out in no man's land. Your father was a merchant who considered himself to be a sovereign fungi.
Yes, fungi indeed.
Such language.
So, your brother really is the missing prince?
Well, a missing prince, not the missing prince.
What? Can you please jump to the end here, honey?
Yes, sorry. My brother's not the one they've been looking for all these years. He just happens to be in line for the throne through our father.
Who was the brother of the former king? Then, what's up with the missing prince?
Well...
Attention! All hail the king of Scythia!
Sempa, you're alive! What's going on?
Hold on and you'll understand.
Hello.
Hey, you're Searton's brother. I'm glad to see you made it.
I'm glad to see you made it too. The princess would be very upset if you had died.
Princess?
Me, Max.
And you're...
The king. Yes, it's all very confusing. I'm still stunned, to tell you the truth.
And I'm Bedouin.
Yes. Your father was the former king's chancellor and captain of the royal guard. You and the prince were lost during the Battle of Orlage. You made it back. Unfortunately, my cousin, the prince, did not.
I don't remember.
You were quite young, as we all were. Brago took your father's place as chancellor after the battle. When the king died, Brago found out about me, and he confronted my father, and, well, you know what happened. If it hadn't been for you, he might have won. Max, I am forever in your debt.
Then Gimel was right.
Right?
He said I was the key. Or did he say I have the key? He said something about a key.
Uh-huh. Look, you need your rest, and it's quite surprising, all the things a king needs to do in a day. I just came in to thank you for everything you did. When you're better, I want to talk to you about taking your father's former post. Here with me.
Thanks. Your Highness?
I'll catch up with you soon, Bedouin.
Interesting times, eh?
I guess you could say that. So, I'm not the prince after all.
No.
Well, I guess that's it then.
What is? What's what?
Never mind. Princess Sirton. It's not important.
Longina, would you mind leaving us alone for a bit?
Certainly. I'll be back soon, Bedouin.
Hey!
Hey! What did you do that for?
You're being an idiot.
What are you talking about?
Nothing has changed between us, or should I say, nothing needs to change between us. So you're not the missing prince, so what?
Well, you're a royal. Won't you be sold off to some king somewhere to make a treaty or something?
I will not.
You say that now, but when the time comes...
When the time comes, I'll already be married to you, Mushroom for Brains.
Well, who says I want to marry you anyway?
Really?
Fine. I'll marry you. If I have to.
Fine. Now shut up and kiss me.
Still...
What now?
I never finished Gamel's quest, you know? To find the ultimate question.
Sure you did. You figured it out. It's who am I?
But you said that was lame.
Well, I did, but I meant the way you were interpreting it.
What?
Look, who you are isn't the orphan boy who was found and raised by a stranger. And who you are certainly isn't the missing prince. Who you are is the man who fought for what he thought was right and didn't give in, even when the odds were stacked against him, even when the girl he loved tried to talk him out of it. That's who you are. That's what I told my brother. That's why he wants you by his side. Not because of who your father was, but because of who you are.
All right. I see your point. I guess you're right. But I have one more question.
What's that?
Is there any way your brother can decree that my name isn't Bedouin?
I'll bet that can be arranged, although you might have to fight your mother on that point. You never did tell me how you got such a strange name, Max.
Oh, yeah. About that. Funny story.
This concludes The Ultimate Question by Stephen C. Schaefer. Copyright 2024 by Schaefer Media Enterprises, LLC. With voice characterizations by Chris Hollabaugh, Colleen Schaefer, Jeff Brown, Brent Ottaway, Corey Rideout, Mike Waldeer, Sally Best, Patrick Brannon, Donald Townsend, and Gavin Shucker. Please visit uqstory.com for more information on this title.